Good evening, good day, wherever you are, and welcome to today's deep dive with Ziina, the digital wallet for MENA. My name is Akar Rudolf. I'm the director of the UX Design Awards and head of strategy at International Design Center Berlin, in short, IDZ, the awards organizer. The IDZ is a leading German nonprofit design institution. We are a professional association that connects designers, design consultancies, and companies with more than 50 years of expertise. Our mission is to promote design as a driver of innovation in business and society. And the UX Design Awards are our flagship format. We judge, award, and promote the positive impact of people-oriented design worldwide. The awards are handed by expert juries twice per year. And the second of two participation calls this year is actually open and running until the end of May. So if you're working on some great experience projects, no matter if it's products, services, prototypes, or even visionary concepts, visit our website for more info and take part. We would be very happy to welcome also your work in the global competition for the best in experience design. And in our virtual event series, we invite many of our awarded designers and teams to talk about the work and to share knowledge among the awards professional community. You can join us twice a month, actually, for deep dives featuring professionals and companies, and for talent tracks that present up-and-coming UX designers. With our events, we invite you to discover different design approaches, learn more about product strategy and development processes, and to meet diverse members of our global UX community. For more, you can follow us on LinkedIn, social media, or subscribe to our newsletter. And now, let me introduce today's award-winning product case study. Ziina is a new digital wallet for the Middle East. It enables instant online payments for people in the region. The app is built for network effect, allowing users to send money and invite friends easily. Ziina is meant to be social and unlocks its full potential when a person's close circle of friends joins in. The jury handed Ziina a product award in 2021 with the following statement, and I quote, "Ziina addresses a relevant challenge by providing a payment solution for a region where many people are still unbanked. The unique and appealing design combines traditional elements with a modern and intuitive UI language. Small and well thought out solutions make sending and receiving money a most enjoyable experience. Ziina uses UX to break existing social taboos by enabling conversation about money, a topic that traditionally tends to be avoided, and it is therefore a driver of positive change." This is what the jury had to say about Ziina. And with this, I'm glad to introduce a key person behind this product to you, Anton Badashov. Anton is head of design at Ziina. He's currently based in Dubai. Anton is actually a computer science engineer. And while he focuses on product and interaction design, his work always is based on hard data. He has worked in diverse web and tech companies, including as head of design at Careem, a mobility and service platform for the Middle East that was bought by Uber. And with this, I would like to warmly welcome you, Anton, and hand over the screen to you. Take it away from here.
Hi, everyone. Just give me a second. I'll share my screen. You know, this typical Zoom meeting intro. Cool. I hope you can see it. So let me just dive in. So I'll start with a fun fact, I guess, about me. So 3 years ago, me and my wife, we moved to Dubai, I guess, end of summer without ever being in the country. And we moved here for good. And here I started my career in a local startup called Careem. And you can imagine like moving to like new region, knowing nothing about it. And here I am climbing claiming that we are breaking social taboos about payments using user experience design. So yeah, let's see how we try to do it. So Aki already did an intro about me. So yeah, I'm Anton, ex-design lead at Karim /Uber. Before that, I was based in Moscow at Yandex. And now I'm head of design at Ziina, where we build in the new peer-to-peer tool that allows easy payments for the region. And I'll start with giving a bit more context about the region and what kind of demographics here is. So like region is, the MENA is pretty young, the average age around 57 years old. People here are super tech savvy, like mobile penetration is 100%. Region is pretty wealthy and highly social. A lot of people are using social media, and in KSA, it's like the highest global Snapchat usage per capita, which is amazing. And we started, our starting point is in the UAE. And speaking of this, it's the whole region, particularly Dubai, it's highly social. You see a lot of different people from different countries, from different regions, and culture evolving around friends, family, and social experience. And 8.8 million individuals access social media with their mobile devices, and there is a very high increase, extremely high population of expats in UAE. And you can think it's like 89% of the population are actually people that arrived to the region from abroad to work here. And 32% of this population, they're actually unbanked. And it would mean that they don't have a bank account, they don't have credit cards in the region, and they don't have access to benefits of digital economy, and they have to deal with cash a lot. And if you look at Dubai, it's you can think of it, it's like interesting, like crazy Middle Eastern city, but special people here are doing the same as everywhere else. They're doing sports, they're going out, they sell things, they order food delivery, they go out, as I mentioned, and it's real and lively city, right? And still, like here there is like a problem that we want to solve, and the problem that still exists even today is how do I pay my friends or like any random person? And this is super interesting because if you look at this scheme, I guess it's a bit outdated, but still gives a picture. Like there are a lot of different fintech players around the world. Like some of them like super huge and famous, like in the US, a lot of them in the UK or Europe. But if you look at Middle East, there are no like really significant players at the moment. That means there is no common way to pay people back and basically send payments. And there are two current solutions that everyone is using. Number one is, of course, cash. People use cash a lot. And number two is bank transfer. And imagine like if when you want to pay your friend back for the lunch or breakfast, you have to open your really outdated, terrible looking bank app, enter the IBAN, add your friend as a beneficiary, maybe wait 24 hours if your bank want to do security check or something, and then you send him 50 dirham, like $10. Like all those problems, just like for this small thing that you want to achieve. And we conducted a lot of user interviews across demographics, and it's super clear that people are not happy with it. Cash has its own problems around security. You cannot safely store a lot of cash, and people who work here from abroad, they have to deal with it. You don't have cash at you when you want to pay someone, you have to go to ATM. So because of it, there is opportunity, right, to solve all of it. And here comes Ziina, and our mission as a digital wallet is empower population by providing the first and trusted digital wallet in MENA for the population. And initial use case that we decided to try is super simple, just send and receive money to fast. And yeah, this is in a nutshell. And before even I joined Ziina, the team, they launched this MVP product, which already looked kind of good and allowed you to send money with just a few taps to your friends from Dubai, from the UAE. And not everything that simple. While the product was there and it was working, it has a few issues, and I just drafted this scheme to make it clear how the things were working, like in the initial products. So basically, you have like, let's say you user 1 and you want to pay to user 2, and you open your Ziina app, and what you want to do, you want to add your bank credentials to Ziina. That would work in a way that Ziina would communicate to your bank and facilitate your bank to send payments to the bank of users too, who had to do the same thing. And that means that as a user, you have to trust Ziina with giving Ziina access to essentially all your money that you have in your bank accounts, which is crazy. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And this, of course, cause a lot of trust issues, a lot of friction. People don't want to do this, but still, even like with this product, we realized that there is opportunity. And even with all of those problems, people are willing to use a product like it because just how simple it works at the end of the day. And we built a small, loyal customer base, which was a great start. And we started thinking like how we can move from this initial product to something that can scale better and address those pain points we discovered. And some of the initial use cases we're looking at, it's splitting bills, splitting taxi, splitting deliveries, sports, paying back roommates. Of course, freelancers, people here, same as in the rest of the world, they want to do some side jobs and they want to get paid, not only in cash. And of course, there is like rising creative economy, a lot of artists, a lot of people from creative side, they also want to get paid and get paid for their work, right? And we were also thinking, addressing this claim, how we can solve the some existing social taboos in the region. I think it's actually interesting because culture globally is getting the same everywhere. While there are a lot of like small differences here and there, overall, because the way we consume content around the world, we watch the same Netflix shows, we order the same iPhones. Culture is getting very cohesive across like different regions. And if you think about paying people or like ask someone to pay you back, I think it's problem not only in the region, it's problem around the world. You probably wouldn't feel extremely good about yourself asking your friend like, hey, like pay me back for this lunch. And we're thinking about it maybe in a way that's like there is like a lot of awkwardness, how awkward it is to ask someone to pay you back. And let's say like one way to do it, and a lot of people here, like they want to do it here in the region, you can just like completely remove everything out of the equation and you say, hey, it's on me. And you don't ask anyone to actually pay you, which is a good way to solve it. And another way, let's say you just in person ask your friend, hey, you still owe me for the lunch the other day, like pay me back. Wow, like how awkward is that, right? And the friend, they reach for their wallets and just give you cash in person. Maybe like they don't have exact amount. Like it's pretty awkward. Another way, you can do the same, but you can share their bank details over the WhatsApp. And you don't see your friend in person, and it's a bit more easy to do probably. But still, it's like probably you wouldn't do it often. And another way how you can approach it, let's say you have a product like Ziina, you just send a payment request. and it removes like this interaction between two of you, and your friend just needs to press a single button, approve the request, and pay you back. But you can add a note. It can be a funny note, like a joke, or it can be a note that's related to the purpose of the payment, and it's getting less awkward. And at the end of the day, it can be like extremely not awkward, like if you also include a nice GIF, and it makes the whole experience more appropriate, and probably your friends will feel better paying you as well. So this is our take on how we can solve it, at least like one of the ideas we have and one of the things we're currently using. And yeah, that's it. So moving from it, we will start thinking about our next product. And this is the product that we get our awards for. And we started by doing more user research, and we started like doing some need finding, in-depth interviews. It helped us build empathy, understand our users, see their existing user journeys and mental models, how they think about pay each other, how they think about collect payments. And this helped us uncover a lot of pain points. And at the second step, we did some concept testing. And essentially what that means, you uncover a lot of different pain points, which are also opportunities. And you create a design or like create like some ideas around how you can solve it. And you just bring it in front of users and understand how they feel about it. What from your ideas makes sense to them, and what you should move on with, and what's probably you should set aside. And this is like it's a new product, so you don't have like a lot of data. You highly rely on customer insights, customer opinion, and yeah, customers, your only friends in terms of understanding what's product to build and what product would be good for them. And when you have all of it, and when we had all of it, we picked a few most promising ideas, and we built a North Star vision. And essentially, it's a design that allows us to bring all ideas together, and maybe some other crazy ideas that we may build at some point, and see how the product and experience can fit each other, and how the navigation patterns would work, how the information architecture would work. So when your product evolves, and when you start adding functionality and you pick things from your roadmap, like based on some insights or data, they fit easily into the MVP product that you build. And of course, you need the MVP. Like even though we validated the main pain points, we still need to build, had to build something to go out to the market, put the real working thing in front of users, and get the validation. So you cannot get away without building an MVP. And you just take your North Star vision and you remove all the fats, and you have this very lean MVP that addresses the main pain points that you want to solve. And of course, we user tested it to see if there is like any experience gaps, we missed something. And we also saw how people interact with the product overall. So yeah, and we had this MVP and some key principles that we put for building it. It was built for network effect. If you build something like Ziina, which is a peer-to-peer payments, you really need to have people on the network. You cannot pay someone who is not on Ziina. That means the denser network you have, the more use cases people have for your product. And of course, you need to keep this in mind when you build products like this. So it's one thing, like Ziina built for network effect. That means ease of sending and receiving money, seamless invite flows, and some group onboardings. Because like people, social creatures, they have groups. And if you want to maximize the effect of your product, you want to onboard all of them. Another thing, Ziina made social. It's experience for family and friends. Ziina covers use cases for groups, and Ziina enables communication in fun ways, what we already touched. And last but not the least, it's brings delight. I think this is very important for digital products to help them stand out and help to build this memorable experience. And for us, it was building emotional design. We put a lot of effort into very small details here or there. And we're also thinking about building the personalized experience that make people feel Ziina more like an extension of their lives. So yeah, and in terms of tools, of course, it was user interviews. This is a main tool you can use for product design, especially at this stage of building a product. We use Figma for building designs and prototypes, and we use Protopy, which is an amazing tool for really, really high fidelity prototypes. That's great for keeping aligned developers and design in terms of like how the end experience should look like in very, very small details. And yeah, here it is, Ziina. I want to give you a demo of the product right now. I'll have a slot for it a bit later down the road. And I want actually to dive into some of the creative challenges that we faced and some of the insights that we uncovered during our interviews and during our research work. So first I'll start with aesthetics. And this is how essentially Ziina looked before we started working on the next version. And this is the initial Ziina MVP design. And if you look at it, it's actually look great. Like the colors are nice, the illustrations are nice, but you won't say it's exactly speaks Middle Eastern or speaks local, while there are some elements of it. You can look at it and the style is very generic, and a lot of companies around the world actually use this kind of style, you know, like big hands on illustrations, flat figures. This style doesn't help in terms of making your product stand out. So we started exploring how we can tweak it, keeping Ziina the way it is, black, you know, black, interesting, high-tech brand, but also make it a bit more interesting. And one take we did, like for our initial waitlist, was to, like, you know, super minimalistic, high-tech look, which we liked, but it also like wasn't like exactly Middle Eastern. And we did a step back, and we decided to invest into like some interesting 3D work that make our product stand out and make it clear what we stand for. And I touched on this a bit later. And we started building our unique Ziina look and feel. And we were thinking that maybe we can come up with some kind of local, like use local culture, local art. And this is what we really inspired here at Ziina, and marry it with some really high-tech and futuristic look, and, you know, taking something from the past, taking something traditional and marry it with something new. Like usually it gives like very exciting results, and it's actually worked. Some work in progress I want to show you guys. Like this is some initial coins we put together, and we moved from what you see on the left to what you see on the right. And we're thinking like, hey, like, should we use gold coins? Or maybe there is like enough gold in Dubai. Maybe we shouldn't. And we step away from it, and we went with those like nice kind of rustic metal coins. But then we understood like, hey, maybe also this is not the right thing to do, because essentially we build in something that should replace cash. Like why would we have like a real coins on our key visuals? Like it doesn't make much sense. And we step away from it, and we found something that we really like. It's a combination of some kind of coins with Middle Eastern patterns on them, but also they don't look like something real. It's more like gives like futuristic look that makes Ziina really stand out. And all of it was pretty important, because Ziina is about marrying art and finance. And if you think about great companies, they also built an intersection of something important. Like, for example, Apple built this combination of technology and liberal arts. And Nike, they married like shoes, commodity, with aspiration. And it's really where like different things meet together, you find something exceptional. And for us, it's art and finance, because we truly believe in the ability of art changing the world. And if you look at human history, art always finds its way into people's lives. So this is why we took like this long road in making those like crazy like 3D visuals for the digital products, where a lot of companies, they don't go that far in making it. And we try to see how we can make this statement clear for people without actually saying it. And we built some amazing intro video that you see only one time when you open the app for the first time. And it looks something like this. And the way now when the app is out, like the feedback we get, that people are super surprised. And sometimes people just say, wow, what is that? And you don't hear a lot of such things when people use digital products. I feel it's an accomplishment when you can get some strong emotions just like by showing something visually exciting to people. So yeah, this is for Ziina art and finance. Another thing that we tried to solve was the KYC process. As a fintech, we need to understand our customers in terms of who they are, where they're from, and we need to get their documents, validate the documents, actually their documents, not someone else. So we need to see, build this connection between their face and the document they have. And, you know, like people, they don't like those experiences when you need to provide documentation and you need to do like some biometrics scans and so on. So we were thinking like this, again, art, maybe like this can help us to ease those pains. And we came up with some crazy animations also to make it just fun. So you wouldn't think a lot about like how, if you feel an anxiety about providing documents, you just look at cool projects and have fun. And we did a lot of different iterations, some also extremely weird iterations. And we also explored a lot of different visual styles for Ziina. This style was we really liked because it shows a little bit of these regions, you know, like rustic feeling. You see a lot of like wear and tear on those cards, but we ended up like going to something more dimensional. So yeah, and I'll just give you a small demo in terms of like how our KYC process looked like. And we ended up like making it super fast. I think to sign up to Ziina, and you need to provide your Emirates ID, which is like local passport. And you need to do a face scan. I think you can do the whole process maybe in around like a minute, or maybe less if you're super fast. So yeah, you scan your front side of your ID. Then we suggest you to flip your documents, and you do the back side. And after this, you do your face scan. And yeah, essentially you are done. So super fast process. And we also see now when we live and we look at data that we don't see a lot of drop-offs on those steps of the journey. And another important thing that's aligned with our design principles is delight. And we're thinking like how we can make payment experience super delightful. And one way of doing it is actually also doing something visually. And we came up with this nice success animation that you see after each payment. Of course, it goes along with some haptic feedback. So you have like a combination of visual delights, because we try to make it in a way that you actually enjoy looking at the animation. You know, it's like a sensory kind of experience, plus the haptics. And it looks about like this. And this is actually same animation that you see, but it's in the real product, there are two animations stitched together. So the one on the left, it's an intro animation that you see immediately after you made a payment, and then it disappears, and then you see a looped animation. So this cool diamond actually stays on the screen until you dismiss the screen, and it will continue rotating over and over and over. And again, it's like a super cool experience, especially when you see it for the first time. It makes the app look fun and delightful. And we went that far, and of course, like we had to support the dark modes, and it's super hard with 3D illustrations because lights and materials, they change drastically when you use like different light and you want to build something for the dark modes. But I guess I think we managed to solve this challenge. But if someone wants to build like really cool 3D animations for their products, just keep in mind it's an investment. It's a long process, but for us, it's definitely worth it. Another thing I want to touch is our iconography system. And we had two amazing designers from Germany that helped us actually building it. And they borrow a lot of inspiration from, again, Middle Eastern architecture, Middle Eastern patterns and ornaments. And by the way, like all the iconography and visual design work, it's something that we were doing at the same time as we were building the MVP product. So we used some placeholder icons. So we just used Google iconography system, and it was good enough to conduct some user testing to see how the app works. And in the meantime, in the background, in a parallel work stream, we're building like all those like visual delight. So it didn't slow down our process in terms of like building and testing the product. And we designed a lot of different icons for Ziina. And before I jump to the next slide, I just want to give you a super quick overview of Ziina product. And essentially, the product consists of 3 screens. And this is how we try to break it down in terms of navigation model. And it's broken down in terms of use cases. So you have a use case, like you have a home screen, and the main use case of this screen is to understand what's going on with your Ziina balance, to see your latest transactions like a dashboard, and to give you access to your frequent contacts so you can easily just send them a payment. And then there are 2 more screens, pay and receive. And pay is essentially like all ways how you can spend money on Ziina. Maybe like pay a bill or send it to your friends or pay like any pending requests. And receive is everything how you can collect money and bring them into the wallet. And this design also allowed us to build the experience that doesn't really require you to know English well, for example, to use Ziina. So if you want to collect a payment, maybe you're a service worker and you like expat here in Dubai and you want to collect a payment for some kind of service work and you don't speak English well, the only thing you need to do really to just switch to receive tab and show it to the other person, and they can scan the QR codes on the screen, and the rest is self-explanatory. They just like pay with Apple Pay and the money goes directly to your wallet balance. And this empower people who previously didn't have ability to collect, for example, tips for their work or collect payments for their work. This empower them to just accept those cashless transactions, which otherwise they wouldn't able to accept, because people don't carry cash a lot, and there's just a lot of problems around cash. And most of people have cards these days, especially those who paid for services and who hire service workers. So yeah, this is just a bit of context, because it's important in terms of some of the our approaches for the iconography. And for pay and receive, we are considering a lot of different options. And we did some user testing. So we show different icons to people and we ask them, what do you think each icon means? without the text description. So it helped us to understand which metaphor is more clear. And we also did some accessibility tests. Like, for example, you can blur the icon and it gives you an understanding, is there a significant difference between two icons or not? Because products like Ziina you would use on the go, maybe it's not the best light conditions, and you can be visually impaired. So it's very important to have this visual differentiation when you think about icons that work in navigation. And we ended up actually using the simplest metaphor, just like arrows, which represents money that goes from your accounts and into your account. And yeah, this we understood from like a number of interviews and some visual tests. And we ended up building the whole iconography system for Ziina, which look very authentic and local. And we use some of the elements from Dubai. Like, for example, you can see that's our image for the our icon for the image is actually used Burj Al Arab, which is a Dubai landmark. So yeah, we're quite happy with the results, and it's everything contributes into the experience and to the inner look. And I also want to share a few anecdotes from our user research that we did. And initial Ziina MVP product, which was built also social and had some social features. It had a social feed. If you're familiar with Venmo, this is US digital wallet, which is very similar to Ziina. It has this social feed. So what happens, you can see what your friends are paying to who and what are the notes they put in their payments. It sounds pretty interesting when you think about it. Like, you can open the app and just like stalk your friends, like what they're doing, right? But when you go deeper and you actually try to understand what user problem does it solve, and why would people use something like this when they have alternatives? So you can think about it like, okay, maybe like I want to see what my friends are doing, but there is like a lot of other products that solve this problem. Like, you can go to Instagram. And when we start like doing some research, and we were speaking with people who actually use Venmo and people who use Ziina, which had a similar feature, we understood that the use case for it is when you open the app, maybe like for the first time, and you have a clear use case, and maybe you just wait on the screen a few seconds and just like quickly scroll and see like what your friends are up to. But maybe it works a little bit for the engagement, but it doesn't solve any real pain points. And when we start digging deeper in terms of like, would people use something like this? And people, they say that they're interested in looking at what others are doing, but they're not so interested in terms of sharing this data. And if you want to build a transparent financial product, you probably don't want to use like any dark patterns, you know, like defaulting into sharing this data. You want to ask a clear permission, because some payments can be more sensible than other payments. And it's complicated experience, and it's just something that essentially people are not willing to share a lot. So we ended up like ditching this feature completely. It saves us development time. It makes the product less complex. And yeah, we don't have any regrets of doing it. And we also heard that Venmo, they also killing their feeds after some time. So they're doing some changes on this front. That was one interesting findings. Another interesting find that we discovered, it was also around one of similar products based in the US. It's called Cash App, made by Square. And if you open the app, you will see that the home screen of the app is actually keypad, and you enter the amount you want to send to the other person. And if you break it down into the screens and the flows, you see that it's actually pretty clever design. You solve one extra step because you enter the amount and you have two buttons you can request to send. So it's pretty clever and pretty cool. And because it's also Cash App, they're a massive player. They have huge user base. It gives pressure onto you. Like maybe you just copy this and like, come on, they're using it. There is something good about this design, right? And but we did our own research. We spoke with our users and we tried to understand the mental models, how people actually pay to each other. And the more we spoke with users, the more like there was a pattern that we saw. And the pattern is that you think about the friends you want to pay. And after that, you think about the amounts and the purpose and everything else. Well, Cash App is a bit different. Maybe you can think a bit about it like as a wallet that you reach into and you grab the money and you give it to your friends. But people don't think like this, at least like how we discovered it. And so we went with the way we wanted, people's first. And ironically, and a lot of other products in the region and globally, they just copy Cash App designs, which is fine, right? But ironically, we discovered the reason why Cash App did it. And the reason is actually to build a brand moment. So by showing this cool green screen, it would be recognizable in like different environments. Like if you're in a coffee shop and you paint like your friends, someone else can see this green screen and builds some brand awareness, right? But they're aware that the mental model actually a bit different. So they hurting the experience a little bit in favor of brands, which I think it's also a valid point. You can do both. But for example, if you just blindly copy it and you, I don't not use your brand color on the screen, just have a keypad, you miss the entire thing, and you don't have any benefits from copying this design. So this was another interesting find that we discovered. And I guess another last thing is around the QR codes. And this is, I think, maybe something like a learning that we discovered, that you need to test and user test everything. And if you try to squeeze something in without user testing, you would have some subpar results. So I wouldn't recommend doing it. Essentially, QR code was something out of the scope of our initial MVP. And it was in the vision that we didn't user test it. Obviously, it was like around just like to see how everything works together. But we included at some point into the scope, and it was developed. And the thing is, we quickly realized that the feature adoption is not something that we expected. So we need to do some changes, and people don't understand well how to use this feature exactly and how valuable it is. So we'll be doing more research and try to make this feature work a lot better than it is working now. But yeah, as I mentioned, the QR code is essentially a tool that allows you to collect payments from any cards globally and get paid to use Ziina wallet. So the learning for us was like not to take any shortcuts and do 100% of user testing for all the things that we develop. And I just give you like the entire demo, how the product works. And then I give you like the some of the learnings and some of the summaries that we get a lot of this creative journey. So this is our onboarding. You enter the phone number, then you do then you enter the OTP. Yeah, and I guess I just stop commenting because it's, I guess, self-explanatory. there are a few more steps in the journey. Like you need to pick your Z name, which will be handle that you use to send money to your friends, and how your friends can recognize you on Ziina. And this is the home screen, and you can pick a friend. You decide to send money to your friend. You add a note, then you add a funny GIF to your payments. And you can skip all of it if you don't want to add. Essentially, Ziina is still a utility app. So if you don't need any of it, you can just skip it, and we allow this. And then you press a button and you pay to your friends, essentially. So yeah, this is how Ziina products looks like. And a few lessons that we've got out of it. It's be authentic, try to do something different, try to find something that make your products and what you do unique and stick to it. Then don't settle for subpar experience. You really need to keep this quality bar, and great execution and great quality attracts great talents. And this is extremely important. And don't copy, do your own research. A lot of times when you work in big companies, especially with big competitors, you will hear something, okay, let's check how our competitor does this thing. Should we check, should we copy it? Should we do the same? So you shouldn't do this. You should do your own research, and you will find some interesting insights. And for us, it was quite a great journey. We won several international design awards. Ziina is well known in the UAE for its design quality, and our initial user base we have now, they are in love with the products, and we have a lot of great user feedback on our Slack channel that actually brings some warm feeling into our hearts. So yeah, that was it.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Anton. Oh, great. Thanks for closing the presentation. Thanks so much. It was really insightful. I liked it very much that you said it's important to work on your own concept and artwork and design to create your own visual language, and of course and beyond that, or before that, to focus on creating a meaning and on the analysis that it's good, it's important to create a new mix of meaning between key existing areas. And that's actually something also and this is something that builds strong brands, you mentioned too. And it's something that the jury also observed, that many products that we get in the awards often look alike, like generic UI patterns, looks and feels, and Ziina stands out there. So go your own way is really something that I think I can fully support. But of course it's difficult, right? So I'm wondering, when you developed the whole research on visuals and also on the concepts beforehand, did you work a lot with users? Did you focus more on your gut feelings of the team, and how did you go about to decide, are you on the right track?
So in a startup, you don't have access to data. Like even if you have your product which is up and running, you cannot really trust data in terms of like, you cannot do like A/B tests because you don't have enough users to have statistically significant results. So actually like the only source of truth for you would be your users. So you need to speak with them a lot, extremely often. The earlier the stage of your product, the more often you should speak to them, up to the point when you should have conversations weekly with the users. So for us, it was like constantly like building something, like putting something together, like a small prototype, go back to users, show it to them, get feedback, and like basically doing all those iterations.
So like really the hardcore user-centered way, and not look left and right on the market, or at least not too much, right?
Yeah, at Ziina we prefer not to look a lot at our competitors because it's each company has its own way. You should just stick and do what you do best, and results will follow.
Right. Actually, I'm wondering, in this process, did you have like what were your surprises? What were your like make or break moments where you said like, wow, let's see what this will come out from. We're really not sure, are we going to break it now?
Yeah, I think like one of the surprises was like around like the mental model that I already shared. It was like really quite interesting to see how people think about payments, and yeah, it was quite interesting. And we also have some like some other product ideas that's currently in our backlog, and we're like investigating and thinking. There were some insights there, but I cannot just share it at the moment.
Right, because you just said beforehand that you just launched on the market very briefly, so you can't share everything. Sebastian, you're here on the call. You raised a hand. Would you like to turn on your camera and just basically jump into the conversation? Maybe that was a mistake, but hey, feel free to jump in anytime. There was a question from Sophia Campos. She is working at as a UX designer at DFetch. She said, amazing work. Which sort of user testing you used? Methodology. Can you briefly go into that? UX testing methodology?
We try to get the more diverse users to test our ideas. And in terms of the methodology, I guess we just built the prototype and we put it in front of them. And then we try to see how people perform, what people understand from each screen, like how they interact with the content. Essentially, we just allow them to spend some time on each screen, see what they do, how they interact, because sometimes people can say one thing, but they interact differently. Let's say you show them a cool onboarding experience, like a bottom sheet that comes up, and you expect them to read the information on it. But in reality, when you do user testing and you don't ask them to read the content, you just see how they interact. You see they dismissed immediately and no one reads anything. So it's important to see how people actually interact with your products, not only what they understand and how they perceive the information. So we do all of it, and we test some like every core use cases. So we see how if it's clear where people go when we ask them to do certain things. So we ask, for example, how you make a payment, or where would you go to change your profile picture? And we observe people, what they do, and we adjust accordingly if we see something not clear, and so on and so on.
So this is basically like really working individually with people, talking a lot, observing, but also asking and talking, right?
Yeah. And I guess the most important question you can ask is the question why, because sometimes people, they give you answer, and you really need to dig inside, and you need to ask why and why and why until you get the actual insights. What's the core motivation behind some decisions, and why they behave in this way.
Right. There was actually right at the beginning a question from LinkedIn from Shani. He's a designer on Greenpoint system. It's a very basic question, but it hits also like in the center. Is there Arabic language in Ziina? It's like that's a key language used in the region.
We have plans to have an Arabic language. Yes, we have our Arabic version of the logo, which we like a lot. But we want to be lean and agile, and our initial product supports only English language because, as I mentioned, like around 90% of the UAE population are expats. People came from around the globe and most of them speak English. It's the language that's mostly everyone knows here. So we go with this, and when we expand, we start supporting more languages.
Okay, so that's a very specific situation that there are a lot of expats. Of course, it's a small region, and then when you start to grow, that most probably Arabic language will be very key to that, right?
Definitely, definitely. And it's important also to look at your typography from the beginning, and if we have some like design drafts, how our product will look in Arabic. So it's important to think such things through from the beginning and have a plan how you move towards it. So we have everything ready, like how our typography would work, what typefaces we will use, and so on and so on. Just a matter of like translate everything and implement it. And of course, it's also important, I guess, like a technical thing to have a repository maybe like of all the strings that you use in your product. So when you start translating your product into different languages, you don't just go, through the code and find like, hey, in this place we say this, in this place we say this. You have like one good picture of all the texts and all the things that you use in your app.
And then, of course, text is also about context. So you really need to understand how people, and then again, in user testing, understand something, and maybe you do like small changes, like not saying transfer, but pay, which might be more natural, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I was wondering, one step back, you said that, of course, you did like a North Star, a prototype where you put all the features in that might be interesting. And then from the MVP, you had to scale back, or you had to cut out what might not be necessary. How did you actually decide which features to kill? What was the process there?
Yeah, so you see which features are important for your customers, and you see which features can make one cohesive, delightful experience. And essentially, you can just cut things off until you understand that this is a product that would solve the pain points that you identified, but also will help you differentiate from others. Because if you just build like most necessary things, it will be just another player, like as many others. So you really need to include something that will make you stand out, and something that will differentiate you.
So this comes back again to the core of your concept, what you want to, where do you want to position yourself? Then again, more on the market, then back to user testing. Does it really fit this range that you're aiming at? And then polishing, right?
Yeah.
Well, I'm wondering, because you said, well, for the moment, Ziina is based or is focused on small payments between private individuals, right? But you also mentioned that there is a use area like paying for like freelance services, which is a bit more less personal, etc. So is it already included? Is it one of your use cases, or is it something that you might add on in the future?
So this is a very interesting use case, especially because in Dubai, it's pretty hard to open a business bank account. Like the things and the hoops you need to go through to open it, it's actually unbelievable. You need to you need to get a trade license if you want to have a business bank account. You need to deposit a huge amount of money, which is really huge. I don't have the exact number on top of my head, but it's something that's not that easy to get for small business that's just starting. And we're not talking about the startup, we are talking about the bakery, or maybe like a local artist that want to sell their work. So it's super hard. And without the bank accounts, you cannot really use things like Stripe, for example, that allows you to accept payments online with Shopify. And it's
the same would be with PayPal, right?
PayPal, it's here, but people prefer not to use it a lot because it's priced quite high. You pay a huge commission for using PayPal, and Ziina closes this gap And we are thinking that it's an opportunity for us to provide a good experience for those small businesses and help them start accepting payments without even getting a bank account.
And you also said a lot about mental models, and I think you really tailor-made Ziina to make it fit to this mental model. I want to think about the person first, and then about the amount of money I want to sell, right? Or transfer. So now that you're talking about freelancers, or you're talking about a bakery, do you think you would have to rethink this mental model because it would be another situation, or would it fit?
Yeah, of course, we'll need to rethink a lot. I think the way we'll approach it is to have different business products that would be tailored for their use cases, and their use cases would be quite different from regular peer-to-peer payments. So I think it'd be quite hard to mix everything together, and we are thinking in making it more tailored in terms of experience. And it's always better if you have something that builds specifically for your use cases and your pain points.
And of course, the trick is here that you would have both audiences in one app meeting, right? Private persons to private persons to, let's say, more business people. And you have to balance both of these two funnels, right?
Yeah, that's a tricky moment. And there are multiple approaches how it can be done. It can be different apps. It can be like one super app. And there are different strategies to how to solve it. Like what would be the user journey? Like if like the person who use Ziina for their personal payments, at some point would they upgrade to and become a business because they like the product, or like people just Google Ziina because they needed those business tools. So there are a lot of different journeys how people ended up having a Ziina business account. And when you build this product, you need to consider all those ways how people funnel into the products. And you need to make compromises, and you need to pick a approach that would work with your overall strategy, of course.
And of course, grow first and then make the next step. If that makes sense. Well, there was actually, do I understand right that in your case, especially in United Arab Emirates, Ziina is a kind of bank because it's not connected to banking accounts because they're so difficult also to open. So the connection to real cash is through credit cards then?
Yeah, so Ziina is a digital wallet, and we partner with a local bank. And the way it works that when you download Ziina for the first time, we just prompt you to use Apple Pay to send money. So you don't need to even have a card on Ziina, or like if you use Android, you have Google Pay. So we try to streamline the experience to shorten this time from when you download the app to aha moments, like as much as possible. So. And I think we ended up like making it pretty short. So you don't need to take like any extra steps to make a payment on Ziina after download it.
So that maybe answers the question that we got through LinkedIn, that if 30% of the population is unbanked, then what kind of solution do you offer? And the solution is exactly that you don't even need a bank account. You just need a mobile phone with some kind of payment system installed, right? Yeah. So do you also have to think about misuse, safety? Of course you do, right? Because it's a payment system. Is anything you'd like to share on that, on the challenges that you have to really think about if working in this area?
So you mean safety from which perspective?
Well, in terms of misuse of the app, but also in terms of failure. I mean, like how do you mitigate user errors, and how do you help people not to make errors on the app? Yeah,
so in terms of like safety and misuse, like we because we licensed, we actually mandated by the government to have quite extensive KYC and IML processors in place. So we have some financial monitoring. So we see that like transactions are healthy, and this is quite important for us. And in terms of handling user errors, this is also a huge achievement of our engineering team. We have a few metrics around reliability. So we try to really make the amounts of products and like technical errors as little as possible. So you won't face a lot of errors on Ziina in general, except in cases when you have like bad internet connection, something like this. And overall, like the app, because we did quite extensive user testing, it's pretty hard like to do like any major mistakes. Of course, like there will be like small things here and there, like you can really make the perfect thing from the start. But yeah, that's our strategy. Like make the product as reliable as possible and make it as easy as possible to use.
Right. So yeah, basically getting back to the most basic needs, making it simple as possible, and then of course, now that you're in the rollout, you'll most probably also follow the data, see how people use the app, and see if there's any twitches, right?
Yeah. And we try to continue speaking with users, like even like when we have the product out, we get a lot of feedback from outside, see like if there are any pain points with the product that we released. And we're also doing some user testing with live product. So we ask users who never tried Ziina, we bring them to the office, or these days it's like the remote interviews and remote user testing is also extremely easy to do. So we ask them to install the app and go through the onboarding, and we see like all those problems. Like it's super easy to notice when you actually see how people use your products live. Yeah.
So now that you're launched, what's the next steps? What will be the next steps that you need to take, and how do you follow up on this on the design side? Yeah,
so now when we launched, we work on building the network, and we try to get as densest network as possible for Ziina. So we grow pretty slowly, I would say, at the moment, because we try to grow organic, and organic network built is the best kind of network because people are highly interconnected. And we try to facilitate those connections. So let's say if someone has like a few friends on Ziina, like we can find a way like how to get this person on board. And yeah, essentially, yeah, that's the idea. Building those networks and building tools to grow those networks and building product features that will facilitate this network growth.
And this will be one of the keys that you're, of course, it's part of your development secret. So we'll not go into that, but about building a strong network of people that can get interconnected and love to use the product.
Yeah.
So what excites you most about the next steps? If you think ahead in the next few months, what are you most excited about?
I guess, yeah, building this network, seeing a lot of people from different demographics like using Ziina and sharing their feedback and seeing seeing like your product organically spreads and seeing how people use it, and they find like more use cases to use it. And there are things that we haven't even thought about, and like people smart and they discover such things, right? And this is the most exciting thing for us.
Yeah, right. And beyond Ziina, is there anything like that you really think will have a big impact on future products like the ones you work on, technologies, or maybe some trends? What will become important?
I guess from the design perspective, I guess it's hard to say, but overall, I think like cryptocurrency is getting more and more important. And I think like like a lot of fintechs and a lot of financial institutions slowly move into this area. And I guess this also will change how we treat our finances and how we use money. It also will change a lot, like as we move into this area.
Right. So it's cryptocurrencies, blockchain, and the whole technologies behind it, and in a sense, going delocalizing of systems, right, or decentralizing. Let's say, right. Well, thank you very much. There isn't any more questions coming in. I think you've explained the product extremely well. It was a pleasure to watch, and it was great to hear, the in-depth stories behind Ziina. So Anton, thank you very much for this talk, and well, I hope to see you very soon again. Wish you all the best for the next steps and the development.
Thank you, Ake. Thank you, guys.
Well, thanks for everyone for joining us today. We would like to welcome you to some of our next upcoming events. And actually, it's in 2 weeks, the next one on March 23rd. This time it will be New Talents. We'll present the French student team behind Yumi, which is a system that creates a friendlier workspace for severely deaf people in normal work surroundings. So really an exciting product and the winner of last year's New Talent Award. So check out the awards website for more and to see, of course, the recording of this event and all past events. We would love if you stay with us, if you come back on some of the future events, subscribe to some of our channels or our newsletter, and of course, maybe take part in the awards in the future as well. So it's time to say goodbye for now. Have a lovely day, morning or evening, wherever you are at the moment. And please stay safe and healthy, and see you very soon again, hopefully.